Hello everyone, I am Manas Srivastava and you are watching UPSC Essentials of the Indian Express. And today we are going to discuss an issue at a glance. Aspirants, today's issue is why is Gulf important for India? Or why are the countries in the Gulf region important for India? We shall go beyond the issue and discuss an important organization in the news which can be important for your civil services examination. This issue was explained in detail why the Gulf matters for India. We shall curate this explained section as per our UPSC syllabus. But before going ahead, let's understand why is it in news. Aspirants, if you're following the news, you would know that the ruling BJP suspended its members for certain comments that they have made on Islam and the Prophet last week. Now, this move came after 3 countries in Gulf region had summoned the Indian ambassadors to their nation to register their protest. And they demanded a public apology. Now, keeping the politics aside, there are certain aspects which are important for your exam's point of view. Aspirants must note that barring the Jewish state of Israel, there are 10 countries in the Gulf region which you must mark in your map. Saudi Arabia, Qatar, Iran, Iraq, Bahrain, Kuwait, UAE, Oman, Jordan and Yemen. They together account for 1/5 of the world's Muslim population and are among the strongest voices of the Muslim world. As I mentioned, try to locate and mark them in the world map. So, keeping the politics aside, as I said earlier, what is important is that this move of the ruling BJP party underlines the significance of the Gulf region for our country, and thus it becomes important for your GS2 international relations. Also expect a question in prelims. Now if you go to the explained section, there's a very important line. It says, the 2 most important reasons for the importance of the relationship between India and the Gulf are oil and gas and secondly trade. But not only this, there are 2 additional reasons. They are that the huge number of Indians who work in the Gulf countries and the remittance they send back home is an important aspect to be kept in mind. Underline this line in the explained section. There are certain facts which you should keep handy in your notes. I'm going to tell them one by one to you. Firstly, the share of Persian Gulf countries in India's crude import has remained around 60% over the last 15 years. Secondly, in 2021 to 2022, the largest exporter of oil to India was Iraq, whose share has gone up from 9% in 2009 to 22%. Also, Saudi Arabia has accounted for 17 to 18% of India's oil import for over a decade. Kuwait and UAE remain major oil exporters to India. Iran used to be the second largest oil exporter to India in 2009 to 2010. Its share went down or less than 1% in 2021 due to the US sanctions. The another fact here is regarding the NRIs. What is it? Counting only to 13.4 million NRIs, the Gulf has the largest number of Indian abroad. UAE, there are 3.42 million. In Saudi Arabia, 2.6 million. In Kuwait, 1.03 million. Together, all this account for nearly half of the NRIs we have all over the world. In terms of remittance from abroad, India was the largest recipient in 2020, which is $83.15 billion, according to the World Bank data. Also, this was nearly twice the remittance to the next highest recipient, which is Mexico, which amounts to around $42.9 billion. The essential point which you should note here, that the largest contributor is the huge Indian diaspora in the Gulf. Now, in a bulletin in around November 2018, the Reserve Bank of India said that the GCC countries accounted for more than 50% of total $69 billion in remittance, which was received by India in 2016 to 17. So the figure is important, more than 50% remittance coming from Gulf. Now I am sure a lot of aspirants feel, why so much of data? Look, you don't have to get scared about these figures and numbers. Learn as much as required to support your arguments in your answers. So this was the issue. Now let's go beyond the issue and discuss an important organization in news because of this issue. This organization which I'm going to talk about is known as the Gulf Cooperation Council or the GCC. Now, the GCC was formed in 1981 by an agreement among Saudi Arabia, Bahrain, Oman, Kuwait, Qatar and UAE. That was concluded in Riyadh in Saudi Arabia. Now, it is an important economic and political union which comprises of all the Arab countries in the Persian Gulf. Do you know which country is not a part of it? Well, no brownie points for it. The correct answer is Iraq. Although its current official name is Cooperation Council for the Arab States of Gulf, it is still popularly known as and unofficially known as the Gulf Cooperation Council or the GCC. So if the question is around Cooperation Council for the Arab States of the Gulf, don't get confused. It is similar to GCC. So there are 6 members of GCC, which are Saudi Arabia, which is an absolute monarchy, Qatar, which is a constitutional monarchy, Oman, which is again an absolute monarchy, UAE, which is a federal monarchy, Bahrain and Kuwait, which are constitutional monarchies again. So again, for this, you need your atlas, mark them down and try to know a difference between absolute, federal, constitutional monarchies. So, the possible future members of GCC may be Yemen, Jordan and Morocco. Another important fact which you should know is about the GDP of the group, the total GDP of the group. So the GCC members are some of the fastest growing economies in the world. It has a total GDP, which is nominal, of $1.638 trillion. The chief objective of the GCC are to have integration, coordination and interconnection between the member countries in all fields. It comprises of strengthening people-to-people ties and formulating similar regulations in finance, economy, custom, trade, tourism, administration and legislation. It also aims to foster scientific and technical cooperation in the areas such as agriculture, mining, industry, animal resources and water. Also, it wishes to have a unified military. So there is one ambitious project of GCC which is having a common market and economic nationality. Now they also have a plan to have a single currency. The proposed name of this currency is Khaliji. So if you get this name in your exam, don't be scared. It's a proposed single currency of GCC. So dear aspirant, this particular issue and GCC is important for your prelims, but also India's perspective in your GS2 of international relations. As I said, facts, figure, data, you should not get scared of. These can be helpful in supporting your answers. Now a point to ponder. What has been India's outreach to these countries in the past and present? And what is that another important organization which you hear in news which is related to the Islamic world? To read more about this issue, read the Explained. The link is provided below. Also visit our UPSC Essentials One Word a Day page to know about GCC. Dear aspirants, UPSC Essentials is a dedicated section which comprises of historical tidbits, case study of the week, key terms of the past week, the weekly news roundup, etc., which can guide you and help you in your UPSC preparation. UPSC Key and UPSC Essentials are two important initiatives of Indian Express which will help you in the journey to the civil services examination. So, subscribe to the Indian Express for more such videos. Think smart, work hard, conquer your goal.